Can we look at something and then see that very quickly this mind comes in to jump in and judge it, you see. Constantly. Whatever our senses are bringing to us, our mind is waiting to interpret, and it can seem like we're used to buying these interpretations. When we look at another being, or we look at any object, very quickly it can come. You see. So this interpreter is the root of all this seeming trouble, all this seeming suffering. That's why if there's only one pointing that you have to hear in satsang, let it be this one. Don't believe your next thought. And for some of you, very quickly a thought might come which is judging this pointing also and says, oh, it's easy for him to say, oh, this is too difficult, or thoughts get believed automatically. Very quickly something like this comes and you notice that it is believed. But when you notice, then you see that this belief I can keep with myself. It doesn't have to go to the thought, because if belief goes to the thought, then it seems to get energized. It seems to become meaningful for me. You see? And it becomes part of my identity.
Even if it is positive?
Yes. Yes. Because, so very good. She says, even if it is positive, yes. Because the truth, what is real, does not rely on any thoughts. Like Papaji said that you don't need to do anything to be happy. You need to do something to become unhappy. Although the mind will say that no, I need to work towards my happiness. But truly, the deep peace, the deep happiness that you are speaking of is very natural to you. Very, very natural. And it's effortless. So in fact, effort is taking you away from that which you are looking for. Because we are coming to this indescribable conclusion about ourselves. And no thought can ever truly describe what you are. All thoughts will continue to refer to you as this imagined one only. So as I've been saying in the last few satsangs, as we contemplate why sometimes it seems so sticky, this personhood, it's because the person has been imagined and believed in, and what you are is not knowable phenomenally. So you want to replace the person concept with another phenomenally seen entity, which is not available here. You truly cannot say anything about yourself. You can only point to yourself. It would be much easier if you could say, okay, yes, person is imaginary, but just, look a little left and there the real you is sitting over there and you can see it, here it is. You see? Then you say, yes, this is me. This one was not me, this one is me. And many actually do that in their minds. So what they do is, they paint a picture of consciousness, or they paint a picture of awareness in their mind, and they say, no, this imagined person, not me, but this one, which is also imagined actually, is me now. And they come to the wrong conclusion that they have understood something. So you cannot paint a picture of yourself, no matter how glorious the picture might be. And the mind will come and say, yes, yes, but this one is definitely useful. You see, it's something you must do. It's what we need. This is still the voice of the mind. Otherwise, it would mean that God is reliant on some thought, some energy construct to decide how to run this world, how to run your life. So don't let the mind paint this picture for you that it is needed in the so-called real world. And there can be some fear around this. There can be some objections which come which say that, okay, but when I'm at work, I use my mind. You will find that as you let go of these thoughts, then you're driven by the deeper insights, which are just emerging for you, which you call your intuition, which you call the heart. Any of these words you can use, but you will sense that it has a deeper quality about it than just these thoughts which are coming and going. So, like my master says, the mind is not your friend. Not yet, anyway.